clumsily a little bit, I think. I didn't go to art school, so that's definitely, can feel like a bit of an insecurity for me sometimes, in terms of that I don't know maybe some of the vocabulary, or I don't know how, that system works always. But I do think, because of my background in academia, that I'm no stranger to just doing research and, Googling it if I don't know it. And I've been really, really lucky since I came back to Vancouver from Montreal a couple of years ago before the pandemic, that I've gotten to meet really great artists who have really supported me, and I've supported them, and I've realized that, even the art school kids don't really know what the hell they're doing most of the time. So, I don't think it's really about that. It's more about having the tenacity to keep going through all the inevitable hurdles that are going to come your way as an artist. I don't even know where I live right now. Technically, I'm in Vancouver right now, but I was in Montreal for 6 years before the pandemic, and then since I was a teenager and a bit before that, I've been going back and forth from Croatia, and a lot of my family lives there as well. So, definitely in terms of the components of my illustrations, my subject matter, really influenced by sort of Mediterranean fruits, some animals like geckos and things. So I do find myself attracted to those kind of more Croatian, let's say, like symbols, natural symbols, just because it's kind of, it's in my blood. It's what I feel most deeply. And then in terms of Montreal and Vancouver too, Montreal was really a place of support, and still is for me in terms of art. I did a really big printed art fair there called Exposine last fall. That was amazing. I met great artists, and it's just a city where people not only create art, but also support artists, consume art, buy art. They want to support you. So we'll see, what the future brings. But for now, I'm kind of pulling inspiration and support from all those different places that mean something to me. Yeah, for sure. In terms of illustrators, the biggest one is Joe Sacco, who, maybe a couple, some people are familiar with him. So he's a cartoonist and a journalist, a Maltese-American cartoonist journalist. And I kind of came across him from his graphic novels, which are basically a summary of all his research done a lot in war zones, like in Bosnia during the Balkan War, and then also in Palestine. He just published a book about the Northwest Territories and the Dene there. And what I love about his illustrations is they're highly detailed, black and white, but he really plays with texture, with black work. But it's still, he's talking about these really heavy themes and telling really intense stories, but at the same time, he does it in this sort of playful style that I really love. I love that kind of balance of dark and light, playful and serious. So that's been a huge inspiration to me, and particularly with texture from him. But right now, I'm just really into Art Nouveau and the Art Nouveau artists like Mucha and Turup and Heikel and all these kind of guys. Just the line work again is something that really attracts me, but also that kind of color palette that's really earthy and soft, and of course this coming back to this reverence for nature as well. So lush, I mentioned before the kind of natural side of my inspiration, so that still holds true here because I'm using elements of nature and fruits and all that. And so that's part of the sort of inspiration. And then the other part of the inspiration is more sort of around sensuality and sexuality. So when I do sort of markets and I sell my work, I always get sort of one or two people who come by and say do these figs kind of look a little bit sexual? I'm getting some sexual vibes from this fruit. And it definitely is. But I kind of enjoy that not everybody picks up on that. And I don't think everybody has to pick up on that either. So the other aspect of my inspiration is also paying homage to that kind of sensuality that is really earthy, and that's also really kind of everybody's own sensuality or sexuality that can be shared with others, but that is not, doesn't need to be. And particularly in this kind of like misogynistic society that we live in, a lot of the time that sort of sensuality that's really earthy and kind of eternal gets really trampled on when people feel entitled to one another's bodies. Obviously, a lot of times that's women who are receiving that, but other people as well. And in my own life and in the lives of my friends and people around me, I've experienced that where people experience non-consensual actions and even assault. And what has always helped me through it is kind of coming back to that kind of earthy sensuality that's sort of, that can't be killed in a way, that even when it's trampled, sort of like a piece of fruit being, squished, like the seeds still can leave or, be eaten by an animal or whatever, and will grow again. So it, tying back to nature, in both parts of my inspiration, there's the quality of like celebrating something, celebrating sensuality, celebrating nature, but also resistance. Resistance to patriarchy, resistance to, the capitalist destruction of the planet in both sides. But I want to, highlight those kind of more negative experiences, but I don't want to get stuck on them because I think that can be really self-defeating. So I want to, use them as fuel, but to grow something beautiful from that.